Seattle they weren't just two guys who loved trains. Jim Hamra and Zach Wilhoit were also bosom buddies in their passion for public transportation, who had excitedly awaited the day higher-speed trains could zip through their home turf. Watch, Amtrak train wreckage cleared from accident site. The two pals hopped on an Amtrak train together Monday, becoming some of the first passengers to take the maiden voyage of a faster route between Portland, Oregon, and Seattle. Hamra, 61, and Wilhoit, 35, were among the three killed when the train going 80 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone derailed south of Seattle and toppled some cars on a highway below. Dozens of others were hurt, some seriously. Read more. 81-year-old Amtrak survivor says train derailment felt like an explosion. Family and friends said Tuesday that they were devastated by the deaths, describing the men as devoted rail advocates who were loved by many. They were both knowledgeable about the technical aspects of trains and had spent their lives advocating for such a route. Yesterday was a moment of great happiness for them, which makes this so heartbreaking, said Carl Fowler, a friend who has worked with Hamra and Wilhoit in rail advocacy for years. He added, despite yesterday's tragedy, the Cascade Corridor that they built will be their monument. Hamra came from a railroad family. His father worked for the Milwaukee Road line that ran from Chicago to Seattle, Fowler said. Hamra worked summers for the line between studies at Washington State University in the 1970s. Read more. Investigators looking into whether Amtrak engineer was distracted, official says. He retired a few years ago after a career as a highway engineer at the Washington Transportation Department. Fowler and Hamra took extensive rail-centric vacation tours across the world. He was the brother I never had. He could finish my sentences, my thoughts. But what I most admired about him was his kindness, his commitment, his extraordinary decency, an emotional Fowler said. Watch, were concerns raised about the tracks prior to deadly Amtrak derailment. Hamra and Wilhoit also worked together as volunteers on the board of All Aboard Washington, a citizen rail advocacy group. Wilhoit served as Director of Information Technology, and Hamra was Vice President and newsletter editor since 1988, writing enthusiastically in a recent online post about the new route that travels along refurbished freight tracks. The $180.7 million project was aimed at speeding up service by bypassing a route with a number of curves, single-track tunnels and freight traffic. They were looking forward to it, of course. They were having the opportunity for the first official run of a brand new route, said Lloyd Flem, Executive Director of All Aboard Washington. Read more. Conductor tells dispatcher we need EMS ASAP following Amtrak train derailment. Flem said he's known Hamra for more than 3 decades. Hamra, who lived with his mother in Puyallup, was a groomsman at Flem's wedding 25 years ago. Pierce Transit said Wilhoit was a customer service support specialist who was admired by his colleagues.